Hey guys, it's Andre here from Verge Magazine with my two friends Matt and Sam. We are at the moment calling this the F1 Alternative Podcast with Verge Magazine. Now, for those who don't know much about Verge, I'm sure that you've seen us around the actual track behind the scenes recording. We just did an interview recently with Lando and Carlos Sainz. You understand?
Nicely done.
For those people who...
Very Spanish of you.
Yeah, well, I got told off by him. That's why I had to say it like that. So basically, Verge has been running for 10 years. We are one of the biggest student platforms out there and lifestyle platforms out there. And we have now really, taken our love of F1, amongst other sports that we have, but F1 to another level by getting these bad boys in. Dave, who's missing at the moment, but
where are you, Dave? Where are you?
He's the big dog. You'll be seeing him in the show. But guys, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Sam, please, yourself.
Cool. My name's Sam Wilson. I've known Andre for what, 3 years now?
2 years too long.
Too long.
Exactly.
Don't tell him everything.
I'll try not to. So in terms of my involvement in Formula One, I've been a fan since I was, I am short, but this big. So my dad got me into the sport, took me down to Silverstone to watch qualifying when I had my big ear defenders on, because it was V10 era back then. I've been into Formula One. I followed it my entire life, and I'm a bit of a nerd. I follow every race of the season. And Andre told me, like a year ago you were working with F1.
Yeah, we've had this plan for a little while now.
Yeah.
But we've finally got this rolling.
In a room.
Now we've got the other big dog in here.
Wow. I like that. Big dog. That's the first time. And hope, thank you very much for, thank you for having us here. I'm Matt. I've had the great privilege of being able to film and chat to many interesting F1 personalities. As a video maker, I've spent the last season and a half around the likes of Charles Leclerc.
You can just drop them right there. That's
Charles.
The end of the show. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Okay, here we go. That's as good as it gets.
This is a show.
I can give you another name, Lewis Hamilton. Whoa.
All right.
World champ.
Because you went to his hometown one time?
Oh, no. I was up in Mercedes-Benz world. Big up Mercedes. Great place. And where else? Oh, here's a highlight. Kimi Räikkönen.
Kimi?
You actually got words out of him.
Did you get him to speak, or did you just look at you?
Difficult. I'm going to say, I would like to say he enjoyed it, but I am not too sure.
You don't know either way.
No one will ever know whether he enjoyed it.
It's a struggle to tell when, you know what, this is the highlight right now. Us three together, live and direct, out of the Shard.
We're at the Shard, baby.
Right. We're safe from coronavirus, because that's really the thing that's kicking everything off right now in the news.
Yeah, it is. It's effective. Well, actually, at time of recording, which Sam's going to get into now, at time of recording, we don't know whether the Australian first race of the season in Australia...
The preview show might not be a preview show.
It's
just a show.
We don't know whether it's actually going to be going ahead at the moment. So, where are we at the moment?
So... Currently, McLaren have pulled out. So they've had one team member test positive for coronavirus. So they've put out a statement saying they're not going to race. As Andre said, at time of recording, the race is still going ahead. But there has been speculation from 2 people in F1 who have reported to the BBC that it's not going to go ahead. So this could be the first race of the season affected. But we've already seen stuff with Bahrain kind of removing spectators from the track, and also China being postponed. And Vietnam potentially on the edge of postponement, depending on travel bans.
So we are at the moment we're constantly pressing refresh.
Yeah, nothing yet, guys.
And there's nothing come about to it. So if you see us suddenly looking every 2 seconds, which nothing has actually been said at time of recording.
Each new episode is going to be a preview show, pretty much as far as it goes. We don't know when the first race could be, and here we are. So. Fingers crossed. I think it's a sensible thing right now. Of course, there's still people being tested in and around the paddock.
Yep.
Thoughts and prayers and all that good stuff.
Yeah, let me get all my selfishness out of the way.
Yeah.
Let's just get the race on. Doesn't matter if they run.
But this is a hard thing. As an F1 fan, it's really difficult because I'm sure many of us have binge watched through Drive to Survive.
Yes.
We've got to see that, and we've got excited, and we're thinking, great, here we are.
Yeah.
F1 season is about to start.
But you see,
Coronavirus.
I'm at a point now where, don't get me wrong, I want to see a championship kick off, but I want to see some racing. So if one or two teams can't take place, let the race go. Just take away the championship points.
Well, this
See?
is but
Selfish.
this is
Like
what
me, selfish.
But also, by the end of the season, we're going to have a season that's so tight, and we're not going to be doing what we've seen for the past couple of seasons, where it's ending in the US, and we're seeing Lewis coming home with a 6th World Championship last year. It was great, but I would have loved to have seen it gone up to the last race.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, this is something that Ross Brawn has said in a recent statement. If I'm not wrong and mistaken, that he said that, look, if a team does pull out, then the points out of this race wouldn't go towards World Championship.
Yeah.
So,
but they've done it before. So it was last season when they had the 1,000th race. It was the 1,000th race, but it wasn't championship race. It didn't always start as championship points. So when you look back at the history of F1, there was 10, 15 races of a season, but only about 5, 6 of them had points attributed to them. So it's not anything new. It's just
I mean, I kind of look at it like this. If we relate it to football, it's kind of like the first game of the season, where it doesn't matter really what happens. Everyone just wants to see shiny new kits, new players out. Obviously we've been waiting for a long period of time, but obviously health is more important, because obviously we want everyone to be okay. Let's just get that out of the way before people write in and be like, "You horrible man." People are in jeopardy, but we're going to talk about things as if they are going to go ahead.
absolutely.
So let's talk about, before we can go forward, because we don't know where we're going. Let's look back. Drive to Survive. How much did you guys love it?
I loved it so much. I watched the entire season in one day. It's amazing. I think the first season was incredible, and as a follow up, it did everything. It did everything justice, really.
Mm-hmm.
I think having Mercedes and Ferrari in it definitely offered a better perspective of the entire season. Mm-hmm. The show itself has opened up the world of F1. I mean, I was out with someone last night who said they'd never seen F1 as a race, but they watched the first season of Drive to Survive, and now they can't stop watching F1.
It's a good gateway in.
It's a good gateway, and I feel as a show, it's done exactly what it intended to do. But this season, I think, elevated. There's some key moments in there that I thought were hilarious. Like Kimi saying he's just driving for a hobby. I mean, it's
unacceptable.
Incredible. Dre, for you, what were the highlights?
My favourite, if we're talking about episodes, my favourite episode was... Well, actually, sorry. I love awkward moments, even though I literally watch it through my fingers. The awkward moment was I think it's a second to last one on 9, when it was a Renault one, and it was awkward with Cyril and Nico on the in the plane when he's pretty much asking for, have I got a job? Yeah. Also, there and then, and there was that awkward silence.
Easy answer, no.
They started the episode where Cyril was saying the loyalty to Nico is huge.
Yeah.
At the end of the episode, we had to let Nico go. There's a whole journey in that episode. It's a roller coaster. I mean, for me, I think that my favorite episode is the one with Haas and Williams' story. Last season with Rich Energy dropping Haas, everyone was kind of a bit like, what's going on? Where's that come from? And that episode addressed it. And to actually see Williams' story as part of it, doing the reveal and flying in through a helicopter. I mean, that was just it ended last season, and you're just like, okay, cool, sure, that's exactly why that happened, and you can see why it became a bit of a difficult one for them. So that was my highlight from the season. But
I like it. Well, for me, I think, it's gonna be Alex Albon. I think I'm repping the Asian team over here, and it's a big up. We don't have anyone from the Philippines ever affiliated with F1. But hey, we'll take Thailand.
You had one the season before.
We'll take that.
A substitute driver.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't it?
We'll take that. But I think, like any sports fan, you want to be excited by new talent. And I think the story of Alex at the expense of Pierre Gasly is, it is what it is. It's sad for Pierre, but also I'm very excited for Alex. I think he's validated why he got that opportunity, and he's validated why he's got a seat in 2020. And I think, he's a very humble young lad, very likable young chap, and is a solid racer. You could see when they put the spotlight on him and all that pressure was on, he pulled it off, and he played well. And you know what? Sure, in Brazil, Lewis robbed him off that podium, but you know what? This year, I think it's a really, really, really exciting moment for Red Bull. And I think, looking forward, it's a good moment to look at a team like Red Bull, because Max was starting to find their stride towards the end of that season. Alex was starting to get comfortable in that car. Bit of pre-season, testing, they could be in a good place.
And it looks good for them at the moment. And I think, as you said, Alex is really comfortable in the car now. His confidence is up. You know, you can see like, you know, with the little bits of social media that we get to see, he's like really in feeling at home with the team now.
I think you hit the nail right in the head. He's humble. Yeah. That's exactly it. And he's humble. But he's still hungry for success. You know, he had a lot of success in F2 and coming through. I think he went straight into a Toro Rosso seat and did really well. He had like one major accident, crash, but going into that Red Bull after Pierre was kind of savagely let go. That's a big seat to fill, especially when you're racing against Max. And I think like while he may have not been
got to hold your own.
Yeah, well, he's not got a podium yet. I don't see it as an issue. I think next year he probably has the opportunity to get one, or this year even. So yeah, I think it's a good one for him, and he's settled into a seat well.
So we're giving you guys a little taste of what it's like, because you know, just to explain that this show is different from the rest of the normal coverage that you get. We are fans first and foremost. Like, we are really lucky to be able to get behind the scenes in the sport. You know, we were lucky at Verge to be able to be the first person to be able to interview.
He is Verge.
I am Verge.
This guy is Verge.
We're just here for the ride.
There's lots of people around now. I'm going to have to drag out everyone around the side. Yeah, so we're the first people to be able to get to interview Pierre, for example, after he was put into Toro Rosso.
No pressure.
I know.
That's a big one.
But you know what? To be honest with you, I think at the time, these guys are amazing. Like, so I'm not looking to, you know, unlike the journalists in the show, trying to get that, you know, horrible headline. Like, I want us to be able to celebrate these guys. Now, don't get me wrong, we're not fanboys. We're not going to be, you know, always cheering on everything that they do. We will have opinions as drivers that we, you know, aren't fans of. But we will try to be objective and you know, fair as possible. So that being said, let's get into something shallow. What is your favourite team kit at the moment?
I'm gonna have to go with Mercedes, and the reason is it's that long sleeve shirt that Valtteri wears. Yeah. Valtteri pulls it off.
Valtteri?
Yeah, Valtteri pulls it off.
More than Lewis?
Yeah.
Nice man.
I know.
Yeah, why not?
Lewis looks good in the black long sleeve.
Right, Lewis, when you see him, can you, we're going to bring this up, little clip.
Listen, I'm just doing it from an outsider point of view. I like a white long sleeve t-shirt, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, I think that's brilliant. I think Ferrari have this like zip up wool jumper that you can't seem to buy anywhere, which is really annoying, by the way. Ferrari, shout out if you can sell it, that'd be great.
Yeah, I can send it over.
Yeah. Charles wore it at the Autosport show, and it looks incredible. I mean, I'm not saying I pull it off as well as he does, because, you know, he's an immaculate young man. But, I wish. But yeah, I think Mercedes and Ferrari are my two. Also, Ferrari, who can pull off just one solid colour that well?
That's true. What's yours?
I'm going all in on McLaren.
I knew you was
blue and
say
orange. Yeah, you know, we're bringing a colour here, so I'm just going to say they're mixing together two really dangerous colours that don't work. But you know what? I love that, and I love the look of it, and it translates well on a car. It looks well on them. It's just bold. You know, it's a weird one this season, because I feel like with the car liveries, there's a lot of white going on this year. I don't know if
that's true, yeah. AlphaTauri, the whole situation, I'm keeping an eye on, because I wear all the different teams' kits. You know, who have the Mercedes, so like, you know, so shout out to send me whatever you want and I will wear it. Now, for me personally, I used to love Toro Rosso stuff as well, but obviously they've moved to this new journey that we're trying to
reincarnate.
Yeah,
explain that.
So Mercedes, obviously, always got the coolest stuff, but I mean, I am now moving into liking Ferrari stuff a little bit more due to Charles Leclerc.
A changed man.
Yeah,
wow.
Changed man. Honestly, you know, I think because they don't want anyone around and they don't care about if you wear their stuff or not.
We're gonna change the name from Andre to Andrea.
Yeah, that's it. See, I'm trying to get there. So guys, send me that as well.
Invite to Maranello's.
This guy, we're going to see this guy out in Monza at a VIP. Like,
how did he
get that?
He's just going to send the first episode straight to Ferrari offices, and here we are.
Basically, this is the Tifosi's London contingent, by the way. So any fan mail to Ferrari, just bypass.
Just yeah,
straight to the shots.
So
yeah,
what are you thinking?
Well, yeah, it's exciting times. I think what we need to get into is nitty gritty and think who's going to be the top three, who's going to be best of the rest.
Right, I'm gonna let you go first because you are far more knowledgeable.
Teams or drivers? Which one go first?
Let's go drivers.
Drivers. All right, cool. I think Charles Leclerc is going to be a winner this year because, as Mattia Binotto says, the car isn't as quick this season as it was last. And he's got a 4-time world champion up against him. If he can put that car on the podium more times than Vettel can, that's it. I think he's number one driver. I think that's clear cut.
So are we actually, you're saying that Charles Leclerc is going to be world champion this year?
He's going to win the whole thing?
Maybe not. Well, in fact, I don't think he'll be world champion. I think he's still got a lot to learn. But if he can outrace Seb, which he's proven last year that he did quite well, if he can do that consistently this year, I think he's gonna be favourite.
So we're saying second or third for Charles?
Max is coming in. I think I'm gonna go with third just to be conservative because that car, by the looks of it, isn't that quick. Second, I think Lando's gonna have a good year. He said in pre-race interviews that he's a nice guy and he knows he's a nice guy, but he's still out to fight, and his relationship with Carlos is incredible on screen, on social, but they still compete and they are still friends, but they have a healthy relationship.
There's an understanding.
Yeah, exactly. And also I think, we were saying it earlier, I think Albon this year, he settled into the car the last couple of races of last year. He had that almost podium, and I think that really annoyed him, and I think he's gonna gun for a podium this year, like really gun. In terms of teams, I think Mercedes is going to top the rankings. McLaren, I think, hopefully, can get that 4th place. Racing Point, I think, based on the testing.
Interesting, yeah.
Pink Mercedes, not saying nothing.
The pink Mercedes.
But based on testing, Perez and Stroll both top the sheets. Mm-hmm. So I think, as drivers, we've seen Stroll on the podium before. Perez has been on the podium before. So I think they've got a lot of potential. And I think that could be the biggest upset at the midfield, if I'm honest.
Like that. I think it's hard to look past Lewis,
Yeah.
The car, I think, it's before the rules change for next season, I think it's a no-brainer. It's a Mercedes again. I think second place is up for grabs. I'm definitely leaning on seeing Max Verstappen in there. Yeah. I think Red Bull just have a lot more going their way. I think Ferrari has still got a lot to figure out. So for me, Max takes second place, and third place could be really interesting this year. I think that is really, really up for grabs. I would dare to say it's probably going to be between Alex and Charles. I think it's. Yeah, I think Red Bull are actually going to shock a lot of people, and that's going to throw 4th place out of the drivers all over the shop.
Yeah.
It's going to be. It's hard to tell, and I think Renault could shock, and I think maybe this year.
Well, I think they need to.
I think Renault are going to shock.
They're under pressure.
I think McLaren almost. It was a wonderful story to see, and it was amazing to see how McLaren, raced last season. But I think there's a sense for me where it's going to bridge over into overachievement, and Renault's going to come and take that 4th slot.
I haven't really made up my mind on. Obviously, we know that Lewis is. I think that Lewis is going to win.
I want him to win it.
Now, let me give new people who are just recently into Formula One a tip. Don't follow or don't focus on who's going to win the race, because more than likely it's going to be either Mercedes, Red Bull, or Ferrari, usually. I would say look at the midfield. So the midfield is more interesting. So that's what got me more into it. And also more than likely actually the battle between Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc, because they really don't like each other. And last year they were going at it to and fro, And then also the battle between Ferraris, 2 drivers themselves, Seb and Charles as well.
Interesting this season because that hit some hot points.
Exactly. So I mean that's why that particular episode was my favourite, because of that was like there's beef there. Yeah. So I don't like team orders. I don't like it when someone's just there as a backup driver. I like teams that just allow both drivers just to race. So that's why with Mercedes it is sometimes a bit of a snore fest, because pretty much Valtteri Bottas is not really doing anything to be able to challenge Lewis. The last actual challenge he had with an equal car was obviously Nico, and then look what happened. I'm just saying that. I'll leave that there. So what I would say is that I think it's really important for people to be able to look at the smaller teams, midfield. That's really the interesting part of
and I think there's one thing this year that's going to be really good is looking at Renault. Renault, they've got Esteban Ocon back.
Yes.
He's had a year out.
What a guy.
We know that Esteban, on a Saturday in qualifying, Esteban Ocon is basically unstoppable. He got 3rd place in Spa in the rain last year. Not last year, the year before. Amazing qualifier. Danny Rick, great race pace, right? So I feel we're going to have Esteban higher up the grid, and we're going to have another inter-team battle there, but also we're going to have that team battle further down the midfield. So those two as Renault drivers can really take it to McLaren. I think that is going to be an interesting battle. But then Racing Point are going to come in and do the same thing. So there's going to be a three-way battle, I think.
And I think these kind of battles are going to be really, really important and interesting. And kind of to come to our final topic is there's a lot of amazing battles coming up. And that's going to lead into 2021. There's a lot of contracts and a lot of seats up for grabs. And there's not many. You got Charles, you got Max, you got Ocon's got a contract. Yeah. So
and you've got Stroll and Perez. I think that's five drivers.
Well, Stroll ain't going nowhere.
Well, Stroll's not going anywhere.
Dad, can I leave? No, you're saying, son. You're grounded.
Also, I mean, Aston Martin's coming back in 2021 as well.
Yeah, that's supposed to be a rename. So there's a little rumor there about Mercedes.
What would be what do we think is going to be the biggest shock name move if there is going to be?
I think that Ricciardo's going to move. I just don't think they've got the car to be able to fulfill his ambitions. So I've always predicted. I mean, obviously we'll go more into this in the podcast that we're going to put the links to down below. But
where do you want to see him?
I personally would like to see him go to Ferrari.
Like that
because I think that Vettel's going to retire. Once it's established that Charles is the faster and racer.
I would prefer the team to go to Mercedes, and I'd like to see Hamilton go to Ferrari. Because you can't.
I like that strong fantasy booking.
I feel like the Ferrari is the heritage of Formula One, and you can't become a world champion 6 times, potentially 7 times, and then not finish your career with the oldest team in the book. Like, even if it's a season.
But what about George Russell? Mercedes.
He's contracted. He's at Williams. He's contracted.
Yeah, so.
I think he can move. Can he move after next season? This season, I think.
There may be a clause, but I think
we'll have to double check. I'm sure people will tell us.
Yeah, we may be wrong.
But yeah, I think personally there's lots of people to look at. But guys, you have to be looking at Renault, because if they don't fulfill his objective, I think he wanted to have a podium or 2. I think he wants to be a contender. He moved there to be a contender. I think if you look at the actual snippets on Drive to Survive, he mentions McLaren a lot because he turned them down to go to Renault. Yeah. And I think he was quite regretting it because he saw that McLaren was going from strength to strength. I think there's pressure on Cyril like no other.
Big pressure.
And like for the other teams, being honest, it's like a free hit of a year because obviously the regulations change next year. And but I think for them to keep him, and I actually want him to move personally because he's one of my favourite drivers.
Also, for those of you who don't know, in Formula One, kind of when the teams start to change, they call it silly season.
Yeah.
But so next year, the end of 2020 is going to be the biggest silly season we've seen in like 3-4 years. There's so many drivers up for the contract that ends. They're like so many changes. There's drivers that like Esteban Ocon that had a year out. Nico Hulkenberg left this year. Is he going to come back next year?
I would love that. Come back, Nico. Come back. Hulk.
He was very pleasant. He was very pleasant when we met him.
He's a nice guy.
He's a really nice guy. He's a very nice guy. So guys, thank you for watching. Now Dave. Dave is going to be giving his. I don't know. I'm lost for words. What he's going to be saying.
4th member. He's ghosted us in this episode.
The big man. He's going to be giving you all of his tips. Who he thinks is going to win, best outfits. All of these types of things. So it's going to come up after. But guys, just let us know what you think. We're going to continue to do this, giving you real coverage from real fans. And luckily enough, we're going to get some nice access from Formula One. Love you, Formula One. To be able to speak to the drivers, so forth, and then we'll just keep on doing it.
We're going to keep previewing till we get a race. So hopefully, the next time you see us, we have a race.
Might be us running around the track.
some crazy stuff going to happen. We could have Lance Stroll on pole. We don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to say I don't know what's going to happen. Australia madness, here we come. If it doesn't happen, we'll see you at Bahrain, I guess.
Let's do it.
Well, we won't see anyone there because there's no spectators, but we'll see you on TV coverage.
So have a look out for the podcast. We're going to do this weekly and just updates and chatter and our opinions and laughter and jokes about everything all in Formula One. So thank you guys for watching. Peace.